but there is so much going on that a lot of times I don't focus on that. Does anybody know what lighting the in-lanes does? Because I don't even.
I think it lights up the words pirate, or the letters to the word pirate. So
there's somebody behind you.
Oh, look who came to hang out. Let's get a seat over here quick, and we'll get Jack. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we do have Jack.
WABC. Hello.
We do have Jack here from Jersey Jack Pinball. We are here at his Pirates of the Caribbean launch party here at the Pinball Gallery in Malvern. Jack, say hi to the world.
Hi, world. Hello, everybody. Hi.
We've got somebody actually online here named Acker Apple that says that they know you. You know Acker Apple?
Acker is a great guy. Not only is he a customer, he became a friend. He's down in Sunny Warm, Florida. And when I was down there at Free Play Florida, he made all these boxes full of chocolate-covered bacon. I mean,
he's already
how can you not love a guy that makes you chocolate-covered bacon?
I'm just saying, Acker Apple, I do like chocolate and bacon.
I brought it back to the factory. And
you rock so hard.
The guy is great. He's really great.
Very awesome.
Right, well, we got a few questions. They're easy ones, I hope. You all right if we ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, they about current affairs or what are they about?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's just about the game.
Okay,
just about
good.
politics and religion, if that's all right.
Good.
No, just kidding.
So real basic. So, can you tell us a bit about what you like about the game, some of the features, things like that? Because we haven't watched any videos for this. We wanted this to be our first
I gotta
experience.
tell you, I'm one of those people that I hate to tell people what. I'll tell you a little bit, but I hate to tell people what's going on. I give you the general idea, not because I don't know or I do know, but because it's so cool to discover it on your own. I always used to tell people that ask me, "How do you play this game?" and whatever game it was. Well, shoot the blinking lights and listen to the voice calls and go through that. But this game is really very Wizard of Oz-esque to me. You have that upper rocking playfield. You get to shoot a ball to sink a ship. You have that concentric 3-disc spinning crazy thing going on down at the bottom.
Which is super impressive.
It's super cool.
And I mean, you have the treasure chest. You have to load it with balls. You have all these characters that you get to pick that have all different powers, known and not known. You have a monitor. Again, you have another monitor on the game, but now it's in the form of a compass right
down
there.
The center, yep.
And you have another button, an action button, right on the lock bar, where you have to collect gold and make things happen. So, this is a Jersey Jack game.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think you could have said to anybody that just got into pinball and put it in a row with a bunch of other things and say, who made this game? And you'd have to say, Captain Jack.
Absolutely.
Or the tilt warning is my favorite when it comes up and it says, "Ye be warned." I love it.
Oh, and remember, this is about 35% of what the real game will be. This is still really a prototype game. This is not like a first article game. There have been some minor mechanical things that were updated.
So to me, though, a Jersey Jack machine, and I've been saying this all week actually, is not like a Stern, a brand new Stern, in that, to me, a Stern is like a fine bottle of wine. You buy it brand new, you throw it in your basement, you wait a year or two to update the code, and then you've got a full-blown actual machine that you can use.
I wish my son was here. He has a really big beard. I feel like, what the hell was the matter with you? You didn't grow a beard last night. Well, you know what? I look at all the games that are out there. I love every pinball machine. I really never met a pinball machine. People talk about Popeye. Oh, I can't see the playfield, whatever. And I kind of grew up with Popeye. I like when he plays that music and everything. What are you going to do? I mean, I think everybody's own preference for what they like is really their reality, right? We try to do things where, we don't try to be everything to everybody, but we want to put enough cool features and not only mechanical action, but new technology into a game so that it really compels you to want to play the game.
Well, not only
and I look at Coy up there right now. He's up there playing Pirates. He's studying the game. Look at him. I see smoke coming out of his ears. He's concentrating so hard.
Very cool. So something I
So
did
you
want
see
to.
how I didn't answer that question?
It's all right. It's all
Yeah,
right.
it works.
That's how it works. It's fine. So something I am curious about. You opted to go with hand-drawn art in like an age where, like, well, I mean, it seems like we are going back to hand-drawn art kind of universally, but in an age where everything is coming up as, you know, just Photoshop jobs where somebody gets their, you know, slaps a bunch of pictures on a playfield. You went with hand-drawn art. Why did you go in that direction?
So we did that from the beginning. You know, with Pirates of the Caribbean, it becomes a little bit more difficult, right? So the artist that did this, Jay-Z, that works for us, what do you expect Johnny Depp to look like as Captain Jack Sparrow? He's got to look like Captain Jack Sparrow.
Right,
so you can't make him look like somebody else because it won't be approved. So now the line you need to draw, literally, is you can take their style guide and you can embellish on it a little bit to a point where you would get a no or a yes. So it's an artist interpretation of those images.
Yeah.
And that's what was so hard to create because, you know, people license things to make things easy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, you paid all this money for a license, take the artwork from the style guide, stick it on the game just like you do in a lunchbox, and take the rest of the afternoon off.
Right.
It's not us, it's not our people, it's not our company, it's not our DNA.
Yeah.
You know, I think it took us a year to do the playfield on Wizard of Oz.
Oh wow.
When you think about that, it's like,
To me,
what was so hard to do that? The game was, the property was 70 years old.
But as somebody who's avid into the pinball community, I have to say, of all the new machines, and really any machine, Woz is visually the most appealing and beautiful game I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah,
I absolutely love Woz. Dialed In came in as a close second, and now Pirates, now that I'm actually getting to see it and play it, is just along the same exact lines.
Well, you know, I've said for years it's playable artwork.
Absolutely.
You know, I said that with Wizard of Oz.
I mean, and that's the thing. If you threw stickers on this playfield, sure, it would still get the point across. It's still going to have Jack Sparrow. But if you get close and you look at that playfield, you can see the level of detail that was put into it.
That's
and it just brings it all together. I think that this game is absolutely amazing.
I appreciate that, and on behalf of the team, I would accept. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Very awesome.
Because it is a team effort. There's a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of approvals back and forth with people that own the intellectual property. They weigh in. They say, no, we don't want that. We want it differently. You have to go back and explain why this character needs to be next to that character, why this is bigger, why this is smaller. Depending on the license holder, and certainly Disney is, you know, no less of a protective license holder than Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you own the property and you license it to this guy, you'd want to make sure that he used it in the best image and best intention that you believe it should be used.
Absolutely.
And that's what everybody wants to do. We just want to make the best and the greatest that we could possibly make.
Well, I think you've knocked it out of the park here, to be honest with you.
And I think you're pretty much answered, but I'm going to ask anyway, just because I know myself and a lot of people don't understand how licensing works. So for a licensed property, something like Pirates of the Caribbean, that's you reached out to Warner Brothers then and get that license. They don't reach out to you, right?
Well, on Pirates of the Caribbean, this is a theme I wanted to do for a long time because, you know, I was Stern's biggest distributor with PinballSales.com for years. I sold 600 or 700 Pirates games.
Yeah.
And it was probably my easiest game to ever sell. I've said this before, it's not a big secret. You know, one thing I said is that I never want to do what's been done before. Well, in a lot of ways, you know, obviously looking at this game, this has never been done before.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, no, yeah.
So, taking a license like that and bringing it into the 21st century with all of the technology and with all the mechanical action of the game is really cool to do. You know, Pirates, it's owned by Disney. You know, it began as a ride. You know, it was a ride. You know, people think it's based on all these books and all kinds of other stuff. basically based on a ride.
So does Pirates and the licensing with Disney open up the door for more Disney themes? Are we going to see that type of thing coming out in the future?
Cool.
I don't want you to tell us something you can't, but
Well,
is that something that we can start to
There's
expect?
a lot of rumors out there, and I don't want to really comment on
That's
a lot of
perfectly
rumors, but if you saw us do another Disney license, don't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's super exciting.
Very cool.
I'm a person that I kind of like to stay with what works. You know, so you saw us do 2 properties with Warner Brothers, where we did Hobbit, did Wizard of Oz and Hobbit. You know, they own other properties that are interesting to me as well, and to our company as well. Disney has a lot of rich content. And today, even we see in technology that a lot of technology companies are looking to partner with other companies that own intellectual property.
Right.
Because if you have the means for media, the media is great, but the content is really what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we could make a really great game, but if the license isn't there or we don't create the license, and that's why the challenge was what it was last year with doing Dialed In. To make your own intellectual property,
Fantastic.
to make your own games.
You won't hear enough good things about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
When I heard that you had brought Pat Lawler back, I was literally shaking in my boots.
Yeah.
I was so excited. The first time I got to play Dialed In, it just has his personality.
Yeah.
You know, every one of his games has some type of personality, and you guys captured it in a new way in Dialed In that, man, I absolutely love that game. I absolutely do. And the fact that he was able to bring in call-outs from some of his older machines, Whirlwind and all of that, I think that was fantastically done. Right. And I'm not just pandering to you by any means.
Well, you know, look, you wouldn't want to hire somebody that's known for something and then they do something that's completely uncharacteristic of their ability or their body of work.
Right, right.
Certainly, there are shots on that game that are reminiscent of shots on other games he did. I think everybody would be disappointed if there weren't.
Absolutely.
Right? If there weren't references, if there weren't things there. You know, there are certain things you come to expect, and you come to love them, really. And you like when those elements are repeated in a way where they're brought forward.
Right.
And I think it's brilliant for anybody to do that that's creating something. Because it's like, if we went to a concert and we saw, you know, a great band, and then all of a sudden they play a new tune, you know, and you know, everybody gets up to go to the bathroom, but there's a bunch of hardcore people that just like sit there and they say, I'm going to listen to the song. And then they hear the song on the radio, you know, later in the day, or they download the song and they get the song and they hear a hook in the song and they hear something about it, a chorus, a bass line, something about it. And that's why they loved it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they loved it. But,
Absolutely.
you know, that first time you're introduced to it, it's hard because wow, that's not... So we could have announced that game and called it anything.
Yeah.
And people would have just said, I don't like that name.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've said it before, I remember when Pac-Man was introduced.
Yeah.
What you know, or Donkey Kong. What is that? I hear Donkey Kong in my ear in the background.
Right.
When that game was introduced, all of us at the show said, what the hell is Donkey Kong? After a day of playing it, we didn't care what it was. We loved it. It didn't matter.
I'm a big fan of the name. I know exactly what you're talking about. When that first came out, and people were saying, "Oh, Dialed In, it's about a phone," and it's like, no, wait a minute. There's a what's the word? Double entendre there. Like when you really line yourself up and you get into a game, you get yourself dialed into a game. Or if you get the game real tuned up and playing well, you're dialing in the game. I really like that kind of play on words there.
And again, you know, it could have been Last Call. It could have been a whole bunch of other names. You know, Shakespeare said what? A rose by any name was, you know, it doesn't matter.
Well.
I teased our customer base about a week after Expo, and I said, well, we're going to massage the name a little bit. We're gonna. I got phone calls immediately. What the hell's the matter with you? I like that name. They were all the vocal people that had a comment about it, but now they became your biggest defenders.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they said, wait a minute, I get it. I understand why that name is there. So it's kind of funny to create something that's original. There's a risk to it, but I didn't feel there was a risk. I believe that the team was licensed, and I believe that the market was mature enough to actually embrace an original theme.
Yeah, absolutely. And you knocked it out
I mean,
of the park.
that's the thing that real quick, like nobody else is making. There's a few original themes out there, but nothing like Dialed In. You know, it's not a musician, it's not a movie, it's nothing like that. It was its very own standalone kind of machine.
And it paid so much homage.
I love it.
It paid so much homage to other games.
Yeah.
Like Easter eggs left and right. But anyway, we're here about Pirates of the Caribbean. We're going off. Does anybody have any questions from the chat?
Yeah, so Ackerapple wants to
Actor is
know,
really busy.
Yeah, he wants to know, have you liked poker card pinball machines, and would you consider one for Jersey Jack in the future?
You know, I never say never. You never know. Years ago, so many pinball machines were about baseball or bowling or card games. Then, you know, space exploration came in, and you had Space Mission and all the other kind of games. You know, it's really reflective of society and what's popular. And that goes back to why I wanted to do a game like Dialed In with the phone and the whole thing. You never know. Acker, if you design a game and you think we should build it, you know, pack up some chocolate-coated bacon and send up the plans, and we'll take a look at it. What can I tell you?
And bacon. That's how you get the Jack.
Maybe we make a bacon pinball machine.
That would sell. That would absolutely sell.
Imagine.
Just a couple more. So something about Pirates specifically. So there is a ton going on in this game. I mean, like you have the three spinning discs in the center. You have the rocking pirate ship. I mean, there is a ton going on here. Was this a nightmare to build? Because I mean, I've got my experience under the playfield plenty of times. I haven't been able to get under this playfield, but there's got to be a ton going on down there.
So it'll be more to build than some games that we did, but not as much perhaps as Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
You know, Eric, who designed the game primarily as a lead designer, he designed things about the game to make it easy to service, which we said we were doing with other games, but were semi-true or not completely truthful. However you look at it, in the designer's eye. What your perception of easy is might not be Chris's perception of easy.
I'll be honest, the first time I cracked a Dialed In and I saw underneath the hood you've got Cat 6 running between your boards, I actually had like a little bit of a nerd freak out. I was like, this is amazing. I no longer have to run power and data and all of that to individual nodes. We've got everything that just comes through a nice hub. It's clean. It looks like it would be unbelievable, you know, if you have an issue and need to replace a part. It's real modular. You unplug a cable, plug it in, call it a day. That is probably one of my favorite things underneath the hood of Dialed In as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I imagine it's much the same with Pirates. I haven't been able to crack it. But.
It is. Maybe later we'll open it up, but I don't think so with the huge line.
No. Yeah,
getting to it, I'd probably have as much chance of opening that up as being a Giant fan sitting later at the Eagles game, you know. So
I got an Eagles shirt. Just one.
No, it's okay.
Oh, man.
Sorry. Today I'm an Eagles fan.
Absolutely.
You know,
We'll bounce for you.
It's okay. It's all right. Go Birds.
Are there any more questions? I got one more, but are there any more there?
What are your thoughts on video game modes?
We have some people in the company that like them, and we have some people in the company that don't like them. I think there's a place for them in certain games.
Yeah.
And, you know, people thought that when I decided to put this 27-inch HD LCD monitor in the game, that we were going to play video games on it. And maybe in the future on one of our games we will.
Okay.
You know, I'm not against it. I kind of think it's fun in the right game and the right theme.
So one of the things that I was thinking of actually earlier this morning when we were getting mentally prepared to do all this is you've got that big screen, you've got high-def video and video modes, like true high-def video.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered throwing in like a tutorial where you come on screen and talk about what the basics are? Obviously you want to leave some mystery and you know, Easter eggs or what have you, but have you ever thought about doing like a built-in tutorial to bring those people who are not quite huge pinballers into the pinball world, you know, and make them more comfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
We have thought about it, and we've actually started doing more than thinking about it. Butch Peel, who was a customer, and now is an electrical engineer, pinball lover, and he works for the company full time. He writes all our manuals. He does a lot of technical support for the company in design and review. We're going to do more of that as we go along. On location, it'll be difficult to hear.
Well, I mean, with the volume button, I don't know anybody else who throws a volume button up front, to be honest with you.
It'll be difficult to hear. On a YouTube channel, to get people interested in learning about the game, how to play it. Because remember, some people want to design things to be really good for pinball players like this guy Coy that are expert pinball players. On a location, the casual player goes up to the game and puts money in it, and they don't want to be frustrated, right? They don't want to be, denied some fun for 2 or 3 minutes to play the game. They want to feel challenged. They don't want to feel silly about playing pinball. They don't want to be rejected. So, you need to build games and have settings in games where, you don't want a guy like Coy in your location, and I pick on him again. You don't want him in your location playing the game for 15 minutes for 75 cents or $1. But you don't want to make the game so difficult that a casual player walks up and gets knocked off the game.
Yeah, because then they're not going to play again.
Right. And there's a way that we can do that. We have a formula to do that.
Awesome.
And I'm not going to discuss it until we do it.
No, I'm all right with that.
But we think about this all the time.
Fantastic.
We think about this all the time.
Good. Very good. I think we got one more question there.
I've got one more question.
We got a whole sheet of.
He's got a whole sheet of questions. I only asked like 4 of them, though.
I don't think Robert Mueller has that many questions.
Well, I've got one more question. This actually came from Beck. I don't know where she is. But anyway, this came from Beck. So you're on game number 4. How many more games until you put a Jersey jackpot into the game itself?
A Jersey jackpot shot.
Oh. Yeah.
I just think that would be awesome.
Because that would be
You guys are
fantastic.
laughing. And what would that shot be?
No idea.
The jackpot in your wizard mode, or
Yeah.
wizard mode.
Yeah,
You know
just
what I
have
mean?
it come out and say Jersey Jackpot.
Exactly. You
So
come out.
this
Have you
would be
guys
like
ever-
the first million shot.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Right.
seen
Million!
Yeah.
Million!
when Mortal Kombat came out and that little guy came across the sky, the side, and
There
said,
you go.
"We'll see."
Yeah.
If you would pop your little head across the screen and just say Jersey Jackpot,
We'd love it.
I would
Love it.
absolutely love it.
All right, well, duly noted, as they say.
All right.
We'll put that one down.
Perfect.
We take suggestions from everybody.
All right.
So we take good suggestions. We take not so good suggestions. We're very respectful of everybody. We say thank you. I answer all my phone calls. I answer all my emails. I don't think there's a bad idea. I think a lot of creativity and a lot of energy and a lot of fun things come from our player base and our customer base.
That makes me really happy to hear that you guys are very in tune with
yeah.
it. I mean, you're so active on social media as well and responsive there. I love it.
And you need to be.
It makes you more accessible.
Hey,
know,
you came and sat down with a couple of bums like us.
Who are these guys anyway? No, this is great.
Love it.
So tell me what you guys are doing. Now I get to ask you
All
questions.
right. So we
tell me
started
what-
RageTiltPinball.com.
Right.
Yep.
Now I tilt all the time.
Well, and
So do we.
So that's why I don't play, because I'm from Brooklyn, and when I play a game, it's like,
Well,
it's like
absolutely.
shake
better
the
bolt
crap
to the
out of it.
floor,
And
right?
everybody who's played any kind of pinball knows that when you're getting in the groove and all of a sudden it does something, it hits a slingshot and shoots out the out lane, and you just you're so tense and you just tilt it. That's our rage tilt.
Yeah.
And we do that more often than we can imagine.
Right,
So we created Rage Tilt Pinball with the idea that we want to also bring some. We got Joe
Here's the
here
man,
from Pinball
Joe. He'll
Star.
be sitting with us in a couple minutes.
So we've
From
got.
Pinball Star Amusements.
So we
Wanna
started.
say hi to the
design-
world, Joe.
Oh, I gotta make a.
It's a love fest here,
it's
ladies and gentlemen. The rest of the world is fighting, but here in Malvern, Pennsylvania, everybody's in love. They're all playing pinball.
So we want to
That's
thank
the way
Joe
to
for coming
solve
out and
all
bringing
the
games. And,
problems.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No.
Anyway, Joe brought
Feel
out a
free.
bunch of games. If you want to buy, Pirates of the Caribbean, you should reach out to where?
Sales at pinballstar.com.
All right, there you go. Sales at pinballstar.com. We'll have. What do we got?
The Jack's got his
Take
wallet
my
out.
money! Take my money!
How many you want, Jack?
There we go.
I'll discount it for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Give it to your cost.
But yeah, so Rage Still Pinball,
I know somebody that could sign your game.
we decided that there's not enough pinball-related apparel. So we wanted to kind of fill that market with some super nerdy, very specific shirts. So we've got 3 designs out right now over to our right.
All right, let's see them. Did you show them?
Yeah, we've got our
Did you show them to everybody?
We haven't yet, but we can. You want to hold that one up?
Yeah, sure.
It's our Rage Still Pinball shirt. I'm actually rocking it. It says play for points, not for fun.
Is that you, Joe?
That's Joe when nobody emails him to sell machines. Then
That's
we've got,
right, man.
if you've ever played any Swords of Fury or been on Pinside at all, you know that we've got
On what?
Pinside, pinside.com.
forums? Yeah.
It's the forums, Lion Man.
Lion Man.
Lion Man, Lion Man, Lion Man.
Get that in there.
So that, anytime Swords of Fury is brought up, it will fill the entire message board just with Lion Man. That's what people comment. And then we've got the embodiment of us ourselves. We've got our guy named Pinhead that we developed here.
Wow.
So he's
nice.
our little Frankenstein guy with the head full of pinballs.
I like that.
For us, that's what we do. We're obsessed with pinball. So one of these is yours if you would like, whichever design you like the most.
Okay.
We've also got 3 more designs actually coming out here shortly. And our end goal is to open up a place. We would love to bring more arcades, you know, not quite like Pinball Gallery here. We also haven't decided what big city we want to throw it in. But the idea is to open up our own bar arcade kind of place to kind of bring more people into the pinball world. We have a focus
Nice.
of pinball, but the idea is to sell enough apparel to be able to open up our own location. And you can bet you that we will pack it full of Jersey
Now,
Jack machines.
what do you guys do for a living aside from this?
So we both work in the automotive industry.
Wow.
Yeah,
So yeah,
we
both
work in the nerdy data side.
Yeah, we
of
work
the
on the
automotive
computer
industry.
side of things. So
Okay.
we work in data aggregation for the automotive industry. But short term for here, so yeah, our long term goals are absolutely to eventually open our own place. Short term, what we're really trying to do, in addition to just like selling our own stuff, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a lot more online content with interviews, talking to people, getting them out. There's tons of stuff you go out online, you can see gameplay videos, and you can see all that kind of stuff. But we really want to start talking to, and not just big shots like you, although we love big shots like you, but even local operators and local players.
Those are the
and
real
things like
big
that.
shots, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Absolutely.
getting
The guys that are
introduced
the
to those guys.
operators. I mean, I was an operator for years on the street. Those are the unsung heroes that are
I
really
work in IT, so
schlepping all of these games around, moving them
absolutely.
around. They're out till midnight. Beyond that, they're out every day and night working it and grinding it out for
Absolutely.
So,
really
yeah, so-
not a lot of money. Really.
Yeah, so short-term goals, broadcasting on Twitch.
Very cool.
We're gonna get YouTube channels, stuff like that. Long-term goals, someday opening our own place. But that's our goal.
And really, my primary goal is to bring more people into the pinball world. So attracting more kids, that's why we're doing the Twitch streaming, trying to reach a younger audience, to bring more people into it. Because frankly, I don't care how old you are, I think you should play pinball.
Right.
I was actually talking about it the other day. We were doing a live stream on Dialed In, oddly enough. And there was this lady and her husband, if they were 80, they were 100. And she just kept getting so excited every time she got into a multi-ball. She'd be like, multi-ball! And you'd hear her scream across the place.
Yeah,
it was
I mean, it's
fantastic.
quite
And
an
same thing when you get a kid who can barely reach the buttons who is still having fun. I love it. I love it. So we want to bring more coverage of Philadelphia area type of pinball stuff for now. But
Well, anything we can do to help, just let us know. Jersey Jack Pinball will be there. for
will
guys.
you be in Ohio in March?
Yes.
We will be in Ohio in March as well. Maybe we'll set up a booth next
And
year.
maybe-
If you want, we can do a live stream.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
Jack.
cool. Thank
Very
you very much for being with us.
You
Great.
rock, dude.
Thanks.
You all.
You rock.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna get up. Usually at these shows, they cut away when the guy gets up.
No,
So
cut
I'm
away.
gonna, I'm gonna slink underneath here.
Oh, no, you don't have to do that. We can stand up.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.